This is the IELTS listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have the chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 parts. Pause. At the end, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Part 1. Part 1. In this part, you will hear a telephonic conversation, and based on that you will get 10 questions. First, you have some time to read questions 1 to 6. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good afternoon, Riverside Animal Shelter. This is Jackie speaking. How can I help you?
Hi, my name's Paul Newton. I'm interested in adopting a rescue dog and I'd like some information about the process.
That's great to hear, Paul. We always love helping our dogs find new homes. Have you ever adopted from a shelter before?
No, this would be my first time. I've grown up with dogs, but this is my first time adopting as an adult.
Not a problem at all. We're here to help. To begin with, could you tell me what kind of dog you're hoping to adopt?
I'm looking for a medium-sized dog, preferably around 2 to 5 years old. I'd like a breed that's good with children because I have a 7-year-old son.
We have several dogs that might be a good fit. Our adoption process starts with filling out an application online. Then you can arrange a time to come in and meet some of our dogs in person.
Is there a waiting list or can I come in this week?
Usually, you can visit within 2 to 3 days after submitting the form, depending on staff availability. The shelter is open to visitors from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday to Sunday. We're closed on Mondays.
Got it. How much does adoption cost?
Our standard adoption fee is £120. This covers vaccinations, microchipping, and a vet health check. All dogs are also neutered or spayed before adoption.
That seems very reasonable. Are there any other requirements?
We do ask that everyone in your household, including children, come to meet the dog before the adoption is finalized. It's important that the dog gets along well with the whole family.
That makes sense. Can you tell me about the types of dogs currently available?
Certainly. At the moment, we have about 15 dogs ready for adoption, ranging from small terriers to larger breeds like Labradors and Collies. We currently have a lovely Border Collie mix named Daisy, who's 3 years old and very gentle with children.
Daisy sounds promising. Is she house trained?
Yes, she's house-trained, walks well on a lead, and enjoys being around people. She was surrendered by a family who moved abroad, so she's used to living in a home.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
What's the next step if we're interested in Daisy?
After you fill out the online application, we'll contact you to set up a meet and greet at the shelter. If that goes well, we usually arrange a home visit to make sure your environment is suitable for a dog.
What do you look for during the home visit?
Mainly that the property is secure, with a safe, fenced garden or yard, and that there are no immediate hazards for a dog. We also talk through the dog's needs and your experience with pets.
And if everything is approved, when can Daisy come home?
Usually within a week of the home check. We'll set up an adoption date and provide you with a starter kit that includes some dog food, a lead, and Daisy's vaccination records.
That's very thorough. Are there any post-adoption checks?
Yes, we'll check in with you by phone after 1 week and again after 1 month, just to see how Daisy is settling in. If there are any problems, we're always available for advice.
I appreciate that. Can I ask what happens if it doesn't work out?
In rare cases, if things really aren't working, we will take the dog back. We ask adopters to give it at least 3 weeks, but our priority is always the animal's well-being.
That's reassuring. Is there anything else I should know?
Only that we recommend you bring a photo ID and a recent utility bill when you come to finalise the adoption. You'll also need to sign our adoption agreement.
Perfect. I'll start the online application this evening.
Great. If you have any more questions, just call or email us at adopt@riversideshelter.org.
Thank you so much for your help, Jackie.
My pleasure, Paul. We look forward to meeting you and your family soon.
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 2. In this part, you will hear a monologue. A person is giving an orientation to a group of people. First, you have some time to read questions 11 to 15. Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Branton Local History Museum. My name is Ishan and I'll be guiding you through a brief orientation before you begin exploring the exhibits. To start with, the museum was founded in 1965 by a group of local historians and volunteers. Their aim was to preserve the region's rural past and make it accessible to the wider public. What started as a single-room display above the town hall has now become a fully restored Victorian-era building, housing over 3,000 artifacts. Let's begin with the layout. The ground floor consists of 3 permanent exhibition halls. The first one, to your right, is dedicated to agriculture and farming tools, some dating back to the early 1700s. The second, on your left, is the textile room, which shows how wool was processed and dyed by hand. You can even try operating a replica spinning wheel. The third hall is focused on the local railway system and features a restored signal box from the old Branton station. Upstairs, we have the rotating gallery, where exhibitions change every 3 months. The current one focuses on women's roles in wartime, including personal diaries, uniforms, and letters. This floor also houses the Oral History Archive, where visitors can sit and listen to recorded interviews from residents who lived in the area during the last century. Now, before you start exploring, please collect a visitor map and your audio guide from the front desk if you haven't already. The audio guide is available in 5 languages and provides commentary for all the main sections. Photography is permitted throughout the museum, but please turn off your flash to help preserve the older materials and documents.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 16 to 20. Now, listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Before we wrap up, here are a few additional notes and reminders. We have a gift shop located beside the main exit. It offers souvenirs, books about local history, and handmade crafts from local artisans. If you're interested in supporting the museum further, you can also purchase a friendship membership, which provides discounts and invites to special evening events. Now, regarding accessibility, all areas of the museum are wheelchair-friendly, including the toilets and the cafe. A lift is available to access the upper floor, and portable seating is provided in each room for those who may need a rest. For families with young children, there's an activity sheet you can collect at reception. It turns the visit into a kind of treasure hunt to keep the little ones engaged. Please note that food and drinks are not allowed in the exhibit areas. You're welcome to enjoy refreshments at the cafe, located near the garden entrance, which serves hot drinks, sandwiches, and fresh cakes daily. Finally, if you have questions or want to know more about specific exhibits, feel free to speak to one of our volunteer guides. They're passionate about the museum and happy to share insights you won't find in the displays. That's it from me. Enjoy your visit, and thank you for supporting local history.
That is the end of part 2. You have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3. Part 3 is an academic discussion between a student and a professor, or between two students. You need to listen to their conversation and answer questions based on that. First, you now have some time to read questions 21 to 25. Now, listen and answer questions 21 to 25.
Good afternoon, Sarah. I read your proposal on urban loneliness, and it's quite promising. I'd like to go over a few points before you proceed.
Hi, Dr. Ellison. Thanks for taking the time. I've been working hard on shaping the research question.
Yes, I saw that. So you want to investigate the prevalence and causes of loneliness among young professionals living in metropolitan areas?
That's right. My idea was to focus on those aged 25 to 35, especially those who've recently relocated to cities for work. I think that demographic faces unique challenges in terms of social integration.
I agree. It's a relevant and timely issue. How do you plan to structure your data collection?
I've designed a mixed methods approach. First, I'll distribute an online survey to about 200 participants across 4 cities: London, Manchester, Birmingham, and Glasgow. The survey includes Likert scale questions about social engagement, work-life balance, use of digital platforms, and subjective feelings of loneliness.
And how will you define loneliness for the purpose of the study?
I'll be using the UCLA Loneliness Scale as the baseline, but I'm modifying a few items to better suit an urban lifestyle context.
That's smart. Will the survey be anonymous?
Yes, completely. No names or identifiable data will be collected. I'll also include a consent form on the first page.
Good. And you mentioned qualitative data as well?
Yes, I'm planning semi-structured interviews with 12 participants who indicate higher loneliness scores. The idea is to get deeper insights into the social patterns and lifestyle factors contributing to their isolation.
That will enrich your study. Be sure to build time for transcription and coding into your timeline.
I've already accounted for that. Each interview will be 30 minutes max. I've scheduled the sessions over a 2-week period, and I'll be using in vivo for thematic analysis.
Excellent. And your hypothesis?
I predict that individuals who work remotely or in hybrid roles will report higher loneliness levels than those who work on site, particularly if they moved to the city within the last year.
A solid hypothesis. Make sure to include controls for other variables like relationship status, previous social network, and participation in community activities.
I've added those to the demographics section. I'm also collecting data on weekly hours spent on social media versus in-person interactions.
Very thorough. Be cautious, though. Self-reported data always brings some subjectivity.
I understand. I'll make sure to mention that in the limitations section. Do you think I should include a section on mental health?
Only if it directly relates to your findings. Otherwise, it might take your study in too many directions. Focus on the social behavior aspects unless something striking emerges.
Got it. Also, is it okay to cite news articles or personal blogs if they reflect trends?
It's better to prioritize academic or government sources. Use media sparingly and only to illustrate popular perception.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Let's shift to your presentation. Have you started preparing it?
A little. We're expected to present during week 10, right?
Yes. Your slot is Thursday morning at 11:30. Presentations should be 10 minutes long, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A.
Okay. I was thinking of starting with a graph showing how urban loneliness has increased since 2015. That should set the context.
Good idea. Make sure the graph is properly cited. And then what?
I'll walk the audience through the survey design, the demographic data, and then share a couple of anonymized quotes from the interviews that capture key themes.
That structure will work well. Keep the quotes concise, and don't overload your slides with text.
I'm aiming for 6 slides in total. That should give me enough space without rushing.
Perfect. Are you including any visual aids besides graphs?
Yes, one infographic comparing social interaction trends across the 4 cities. I'm using data from the Office for National Statistics.
Excellent. Visuals help, but avoid animations. They can be distracting. Also, remember to rehearse. 10 minutes goes by quickly.
Definitely. I've booked a study room next week just to practice out loud. One more thing. When do I have to submit the final presentation?
You need to upload it to the shared drive by Wednesday at 3 p.m. The day before. The technical team will test it on the presentation computer.
All right. I'll make sure it's in by Tuesday just in case.
Good plan? You're in great shape, Sarah. This project has real potential.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ellison. I appreciate all the support.
That is the end of part 3. Now you have 30 seconds to check your answers. Part 4. This part is a monologue where a person gives a seminar on a topic. You need to listen and answer all the questions at once. First, you have some time to read questions 31 to 40. Now, listen and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating aspects of human evolution, language. Language sets us apart from all other animals, enabling us to communicate complex ideas, coordinate actions, preserve knowledge, and build cultures. But where did it come from? How did it evolve? And why are there so many languages today? Let's begin by clarifying what we mean by language. Language is not just a collection of sounds or words. It is a structured system that includes grammar, syntax, and semantics. It allows for infinite combinations of ideas, from the concrete to the abstract. Many animals communicate, but human language is distinguished by its productivity. That is, the ability to generate new sentences never spoken before. The origins of language are still a subject of debate, mainly because speech does not fossilize. Unlike bones or tools, the vocalizations of early humans left no physical trace. So, researchers have had to rely on indirect evidence from areas like archaeology, genetics, and the study of modern languages to reconstruct a likely path of language evolution. One popular theory is that language evolved gradually from gestures. Before we spoke, our ancestors may have used hand signals or body movements to communicate. Over time, these visual cues may have become vocalized as our anatomy changed. For instance, the lowering of the larynx in the throat expanded our vocal range and enabled a greater variety of sounds. Fossil evidence suggests that Neanderthals may have shared this trait, indicating that the capacity for speech may have existed in other hominins as well. Another area of interest is genetics. A gene known as FOXP2 has been strongly associated with language ability. Mutations in this gene have been linked to speech and language impairments. What's fascinating is that both modern humans and Neanderthals share a similar version of this gene, suggesting that the genetic groundwork for language was already present more than 400,000 years ago. Of course, a biological capacity alone isn't enough. Language also depends on social structure. It likely developed in parallel with increasing social complexity. As early humans formed larger groups, the need to share information about hunting, threats, alliances, and tools grew more urgent. Language, then, may have emerged as a tool for social bonding. Let's now turn our attention to the diversity of languages. Today, there are about 7,000 spoken languages in the world. Why so many? Part of the answer lies in geographic isolation. As human populations migrated and settled in different regions, their languages evolved separately, developing unique sounds, rules, and vocabularies. Environmental factors also play a role. For example, some researchers believe that languages spoken in dense forests tend to use lower frequency sounds that travel better through foliage, while languages in open grasslands may use higher pitched sounds. Although this is still being studied, it highlights how language can adapt to ecological contexts. Throughout history, language has been in constant flux. New languages emerge, old ones die out, and others transform. Latin, for instance, evolved into the Romance languages, Italian, French, Spanish, and others. This linguistic evolution often occurs through a process called language drift, where small changes accumulate over generations. In modern times, the forces of globalization and technology have accelerated changes in language. English, for example, has borrowed words from hundreds of other languages and continues to adapt rapidly through social media, pop culture, and international communication. Interestingly, not all languages rely solely on speech. Sign languages, used by deaf communities worldwide, are full-fledged languages with their own grammar and syntax. Contrary to popular belief, sign languages are not universal. British Sign Language and American Sign Language, for example, are completely different despite the countries sharing English as a spoken language. Let's not forget writing systems, which emerged much later than spoken language. The earliest known writing systems appeared around 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia and Egypt. Writing enabled the recording of history, administration, and science, but it was limited to a literate elite until mass literacy spread in the last few centuries. Another significant area of study is bilingualism and how the brain handles multiple languages. Neurological research shows that people who speak 2 or more languages often have denser gray matter in areas related to memory and attention. It also appears that learning multiple languages can delay the onset of cognitive decline in old age. In conclusion, language is not just a tool. It is an evolutionary advantage that enabled humans to build civilizations, share culture, and explore abstract thought. Its origins are still partly mysterious, but each discovery brings us closer to understanding one of humanity's most powerful creations.
That is the end of part 4. You have now 30 seconds to check your answers. You have now 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet.